Yo, what is going on YouTube? It is your boy Colt, and guess what? We are back with another CDL prediction video today. Um, yeah, if you guys couldn't tell, I got the new I got a new headset. It's the Razer headset, and I'm using the mic with it. So let me know how it sounds. Yeah, I used to use the Astro mic. If I mean, I think that was obvious, but yeah, I have the Razer headset now. So let me know how this sounds. Either way, we're gonna get right into the matches. Um, I think the funny part about it is, and we'll talk about it when we get to the match, with Optic versus Toronto, is Toronto actually made a roster change like an hour before, um, last week's matches started, which is crazy. I did not expect that, but we'll get into it when we talk about Toronto Ultra in the Optic Texas match, and every other roster stayed the same. Um, First match. Oh, by the way, I went 5-5. If you guys couldn't tell, 31-30 record, not too shabby. I want it to be better, but what can you do, man? You know. Either way, now getting into the first match. Atlanta FaZe versus London Royal Ravens. I mean, last week I think what London was like the first match of the day on Friday. Let's take a look. Yeah. I actually, or no. They were first match of the day here. Yeah. Um, they actually took Boston Breach to game five. Now, I mean, it was Boston Breach's first match with the new roster, but Boston finally won a game five. Um, they are now 1-6 in game five. Uh, crazy stuff. But I was impressed with like London actually taking a team like that to game five. But here they're taking on Atlanta FaZe. I don't think it's gonna be close. But I will say I expected, or I didn't expect London to do as good as they did last week against Boston. So, yeah. Either way, Atlanta FaZe 3-0. Um, Next is Optic Texas versus Toronto Ultra. Now we can get into the roster change. Standy was actually benched. There was a lot of drama that happened behind the scenes with the Toronto Ultra camp. Standy, I think, had some tweets that he deleted saying he got like betrayed or something. Something along those lines. Something happened behind the scenes that Standy was not happy with. They actually picked up Hixie, which is, obviously Scrappy's old teammate from last year in Challengers, and and he was already on Toronto Ultra's bench, so I'm not shocked that they picked him up. If they were gonna, make a roster change at some point, they were gonna bring Hixie on. It's not a shocker. Everyone on the Toronto Ultra starting roster thinks very highly of Hixie. So I'm not shocked that he's starting, but I did not expect a roster change either. Um, yeah. Either way, I think they barely edged out their win last week. I didn't get to watch a lot. No. They lost. Lost here, won here. Okay, that's what it was. They lost their first match against Breach, and then um won the second one. But I don't know how. I mean, this Toronto Ultra team's, I think, scary to go up against, regardless. Because I mean, at one point they were a complete team, but that was with Standy. I know Hixie as a player will do whatever it takes to win. Um, so I don't think this is gonna be like a clear cut win for Optic. And by the way, Optic look very good with Dan Ghosty. They look freaking good with Dan Ghosty, man. Absolutely phenomenal work. Absolutely phenomenal looking from the boys last week. Even though they took LAG game five, I think they squared up on like LAG's like good maps and still ended up taking the series. And I don't know. I have faith in the Optic boys to keep getting better. I'm gonna say 3-1 Optic here. Um, yeah, I just think Optic is a very solid team with Dan Ghosty, and don't get me wrong, I think Toronto's gonna be really good with Hixie, but I think they just need more time. Um, yeah. I have Optic Texas winning, but I honestly could see the series going either way, to be honest. Um, Next matchup, Breach versus LAG. Now this is a very interesting series. I mean LAG. when they first formed and came out in Major 2, they were very good at hardpoint, and I don't think that's really declined. Obviously they've lost some hardpoints here and there now, but I don't think that has taken away the strength that I have that this team is in hardpoint. Obviously I think if LAG want to be a top contender, they need to get better at search and control. But I think these teams are. I think this match will go blow for blow. Um, in the respawns, I think it's really. I think it's really a 50-50 chance that anyone like I think this could go a 3-1 on the side of both, but I'm gonna say Breach here, 3-1. Um, only because like I said, the respawns I think could go blow for blow, man. But I think Boston is just the better overall search team in my opinion, and they brought Beans on obviously that was what we talked about last week, and he's super good at sniping, and I don't think Boston had like a really crazy sniping like what's the word presence? Yeah, they didn't have like a good sniping presence on the last roster. I think Reese Vivid was sniping for them, but I'd rather have Vivid like play aggressive in search rather than sitting back. You know that's one of their aggressive players, so. Um, Beans, yeah, taking out the sniper and he's cracked with it. I think they're gonna improve in search. They're better at search than LAG, and like I said, respawn's gonna go blow for blow. So I think Boston's gonna take this one out. And if they does go game five, I still even though they're bad at game fives, quote unquote, you know what I'm saying? Um, still think Boston ends up taking the series regardless. Um, Toronto Ultra versus New York Subliners. This could be I mean, Toronto has a scary schedule from what I see because I mean they played twice last week. They're 1-1, and then I have them losing this game, so I'd be 1-2. So this would be a must-win for Toronto Ultra to get them in the winners bracket. um, but I don't know if they can take down New York, man. New York ended up beating Minnesota game 5 last week, and I mean I was kind of upset about that because I had Minnesota icing up game 5, but hey, it is what it is. Man, this is tough. This is tough. This is tough. This is tough, man. Um, shoot. I'm gonna go New York. I think New York game 5. Yeah, I'm gonna go New York game 5. I think they ice up again in the search and destroy. Yeah, man. Like I said, it's not that I don't like this Toronto team. I really do. I just think they're gonna need more time with Hixie. Um, but Toronto can win any given series against any top team, in my opinion. So some of these matches are getting really hard to predict now with the talent that's in the league. I don't think there's a free win anymore. It's crazy. Um, LA Thieves versus Seattle Surge. Now Seattle, I think they came out and surprised the Minnesota Rockers. So Minnesota's 0-2. I did not expect that. And I think they only played once last week. Yeah, it appears they only played once last week. So Seattle's 1-0. I don't think this is a crazy must-win series. I mean, and Thieves ended up at least icing up Game 5 for me on this aspect. Yeah. So, uh, I think Thieves come out and win this series. I think if you're Thieves, I mean, Seattle's obviously been a team that could go blow for blow and respawn. They've obviously been very bad at search as a team collectively so far. I think I mean, they won a search last week against Minnesota, but they won one search in like what 14. I don't know. They have a crazy, insane negative record in search right now, and until I'm not gonna say they improved their search in one match, they won one search map in one series, so it's like I automatically give the edge to LA Thieves in search just out of the rip, and then in respawns, if LA Thieves get rid of Fortress, I think this should be clinical. I'm gonna go the hot take and go 3-0 Thieves. Um, a lot of people may expect this game to be closer, especially with how Seattle came out last week against Minnesota. I don't know. I just don't. I need to be more proven on the Seattle train. Um, I'm not gonna just hop back on board after one match. You know what I'm saying? Even though they did look good, they look better, but not quite sold yet. Not quite sold. This game is interesting. Florida Mutineers, Boston Breach. Florida let me down last week. Kind of sad about it. Kind of sad about it. It seems like every time I predict Florida to do something, they let me down. And I'm kind of this close to predicting the upset again, but scared to. Because Florida didn't look, I guess, I mean, I don't know. I'd have to see their, because like I said, I didn't get to watch it crazy amount, but I mean, New York 3-0'd them here, FaZe 3-0'd them here. So they're 0-6 in map count, but that's against two powerhouse teams. I think you would expect them to play Breach at least a little closer. I don't know. This is tough, man. You know what? You know what? We gotta go with one. We gotta go with one upset, and we're gonna do a boost on it, just to absolutely solidify, lock it in. Hopefully Florida doesn't let me down this time. This is just me strictly going for an upset, just for the hell of it, and no other reason behind it. So, Florida, you better 2-3-5 these fools, or else I'm gonna have to have a stern talking with Florida. Next matchup, Atlanta FaZe versus Vegas. No, I think this has the potential to be closer than people think. I mean, I could see this going game 5 with a Vegas win, but I don't know. Because, I mean, two roll, I think, I mean, in the first series, I think they're 1-1, right? So they won against, whatchamacallit? They won, who'd they play first? Yeah, Thieves. So they upset Thieves, and then they lost against Toronto. But when they beat Thieves, 2-row looked disgusting. When they lost against Toronto, 2-row did not perform well. So I think that's the X factor for the series. I don't know if he'll play well against FaZe though. I'm gonna go FaZe 3-1. Yeah, it's hard not to predict. Again, it's hard to predict against, or it's hard to predict FaZe getting upset. What I'm trying to say. So next series, LAG London Royal Ravens. Now, I think these are these are a battle of like bottom teams, I guess, you know. But oh man, dude, it's hard to put faith in London, man. And I know they went game 5 with fucking Breach, but you know. Oh man. I think it just depends on, I mean, I don't know. Like London just looked bad. I think they'll make another roster change after this stage. I'm gonna go LAG 3-1. Yeah, I'm gonna go LAG 3-1. Um, next series, this is a rematch. Optic versus Minnesota. Interesting because I mean, obviously Minnesota is in a must-win situation right now. They start off 0-2. Optic Texas would start out 2-0. Um, I'm gonna go Texas icing up here. Minnesota look bad. I don't know. They're just on like a downhill spiral right now. I'm gonna go game 5 Optic Texas clutch up. Yeah. And everyone's saying when Optic had a hard schedule, and I'm not saying that they don't, but I think these two teams arguably got weaker in this stage than they were in the last. On that, and Minnesota obviously stayed the same. They haven't looked great, but Minnesota or Toronto obviously just picked up a new player, so got to give them time to fill in with the new squad. So yeah. Next matchup is Seattle versus Florida. The thing about these predictions is I predicted the upset here, and if they beat a team like Breach, I can see them beating Seattle. Like, I don't know, man. It's just weird, but it's just Florida at the end of the day too, because they've always been like, one series they're like, oh my god, they upset this team. And the next series you're like, oh, they should beat this team, right? Since they upset this team, then they just don't. I don't know. Florida's just they've always been a weird team to predict, but just gonna go Surge 3-1. I don't think Surge take the. I do not think Surge take the Surge. I do not. But yeah, those are gonna be my predictions for this week. Let me know what you think of this week's matches in the comments below. Let's talk some COD, man. Let's talk some COD. I'm always down to talk some good old Call of Duty. Yeah. I will see you guys in the next week's prediction video, where hopefully my record is not tarnished. Peace.